Brian, if you could hit the volume a little bit, that would be great. So my day job is being CEO of People Connect. We're a recruiting firm. We do recruiting for early stage high-tech startups with a twist. We do something different that nobody else in this country does. We find people who will work without a paycheck for the first 3 months. We've got a couple of our clients here tonight. And we'll fill absolutely any position with the exception of developer or programmer or UI, UX. Those people are impossible to find. But if you need a great chief marketing officer, if you need a technical leader, if you need a VP or a CTO, we can help. Marketing, sales, business development. Come talk to me at the break or when the event's over. So this event could not be done without some wonderful sponsors, and I'd like to introduce Pete Meyer from LeClaire Ryan. They're our gold and original sponsor. So, and Pete is also going to be a panelist. We just got one microphone tonight, so we're going to be passing it around.
Thank you very much, Max. Thanks everyone for being here. As Max said, I'm an attorney with LeClaire Ryan. We're practice area here consists of 3 attorneys, and we represent emerging growth companies and other companies in middle market M&A, securities law compliance. And we have a little bit of a unique approach. All the attorneys in our group are former entrepreneurs in one way or another. I'm the co-founder of a social media metric analysis software company. So we have a different perspective, I think, from a lot of practice groups. So if you're looking to raise money or looking for general counsel, please come see me. Thanks.
So we talked about runway, and when we take a break after the first 3 companies present, you'll get a tour of this facility. But the guy who runs this and is responsible for filling this place up, it's about 80–90% full, Alan?
It's like full.
It's full. Now here's the amazing thing. They opened in January, and it was only about 3 weeks ago that they had a website and a phone number.
No, so we don't have a website yet.
You don't have a website?
Well, it's kind of like...
I'll let you talk about it, but it's amazing through word of mouth and just people coming up and hearing about the facility and looking at it. It's filled, and I'd like to introduce my good friend, our panelist, Alan Young.
Hi everyone, thanks for being here at Runway. As Max said, this is a startup collaboration space. We're actually full now. We started in January. We have, I guess, about 65 startups in here now. 3 have already exited, and they're not tiny little exits, I mean, they're relatively tiny, but, on average, like about $45–50 million each. And we have 2 more in negotiations to be acquired. Somehow, not by our design, but by the startups themselves that are in here, organically, they've designed some collaborative process where they work with each other, they collaborate with each other. And they're moving faster, and we're just seeing faster, that these teams execute and ship faster. And I think that's contributing to these surprisingly quick exits. My background is actually on the venture side. I was part of the founding team of a few undergrads that raised a $20 million fund when we were still in school. And we started investing in startups while taking a full course load. We invested in 15 startups, and we had $3 billion IPOs, but 3 days ago we had our 4th IPO, and it wasn't a $1 billion IPO, so it's dragging our average down, but it's okay. So we've had 4 IPOs. After that, I went and started my own software company, which was then acquired by Rakuten, which is Amazon in Japan. I've also, I was part of the Winter 2010 class or batch at Y Combinator. That YC company did not scale, so I shut it down, and now I'm working on Runway. We're just trying to build the most amazing community of startups here. It's just a beautiful place to work. The startups are, the founders here are amazing. We have 500 startup founders here. We have YC startups here. We have international startups from Spain, Italy, Czech Republic, Argentina, Australia, Hong Kong, everywhere. And everyone is just really cool. And I think that's like our biggest asset, is just this environment, this culture here that allows everybody to move really quickly and feel like part of a bigger community. So thanks for being here.
Thanks, Alan. So, as those of you who have paid attention to the program know, tonight's winner, and I'm going to explain the process in a minute or two, tonight's winner gets to pitch to Emergence Capital. We have one of their venture partners with us, a great guy who's been on other panels that I run, Sean Jacobson. I'd like Sean to introduce himself, please.
Thanks. I'm excited to be here. Most of my career has been in operating capacity. So I worked for 4 startups. Once they had defined product market fit and I came in to run the go-to-market on the biz dev and or sales side. So the companies were Usendit, Elance, Cornerstone On Demand, and WageWorks, all B2B companies. And last year I joined Emergence Capital. We've been around 10 years. And we raised our 3rd fund last year, a $250 million fund. And so we are exclusively focused on B2B companies that are really business productivity applications. So we were early investors in Salesforce, Yammer, Box, Usendit, Lithium, Viva Systems, SuccessFactors, companies like that. We don't do seed investing. We come in on average when a company's at about $1 million annual run rate, and we're looking for companies we think can get to $50 to $100 million in the next 4 to 5 years. And so our expertise is not necessarily around product, it's more around go-to-market. So we think it's the job of the founders to figure out product market fit, and when the business is showing early indications that it's working, we can really help you scale the organization. Finding other great talent, expanding internationally, going up market, going down market, going into new verticals, whatever you need. We've had either the experience on an operating basis or through some of the companies we've invested in. Outside of that, I started an angel group for the Harvard alumni community globally. We have 11 chapters across the world. Our most active chapter is here in the Bay Area. So it's called the Harvard Business School Angels. So for companies that are earlier than we might look, and that might span a lot of different industries, that might be another source of capital for you. So you could apply to us at hbsangels.com, and we do quarterly meetings, and you apply online to the Northern California chapter, and we select 5 or 6 companies to present every quarter, and at least half the companies that present to us get some funding from the group.
Thank you, Sean. I've had the pleasure of attending many of the HBS Angel events. They're fantastic, so it's another great place to look for funding. We've got 2 more panelists, one of whom is here, and the other will call and said he's going to be a little late. This time I'd like to introduce a good friend of mine who's a member of 3 different angel groups that he'll tell you about, Paul Twombly. Paul?
Thanks, man. I think we're going to get our exercise tonight, passing the mic around. Anyway, how y'all doing? Everybody awake?
We're so cheap at Runway.
Yeah, it's interesting. The first time I was here with Alan, we were standing over there about where the bar is, and I think there was one company right there, and the rest of the time you could say, hello, 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 hello. And that was just a few months back, so Alan and his team have done a fabulous job of putting this together. My name is Paul Twombly, like Max said, and I've been in technology now for just over 40 years. I started my career back in the 1960s. How many people were alive in the 1960s? Raise your hand. Max, you don't count. A couple of us here. Anyway, before they called it high tech, it was technology. I started with AT&T years ago and worked for them for a couple of years. And then at 22 years old, I decided working for the phone company was no future. I wanted to be a part of it. A partner and I went out and started a company. We grew that from the 2 of us at $4,000 between us to a $25 million company, and that was in 1973-74 money. We sold that off, had a good time. Went up and worked Alaska Pipeline for a couple of years for Litton Industries and had a great time there. And then came back and went to work for a company here in the Valley called Rome Corporation. If anybody doesn't know who Rome was the Google, Facebook of its day back in the 1970s and 1980s. When they were sold to IBM, it was the largest merger of a technology company that ever happened back in 1984-85. I then went off and did a series of 4 startups. 2 of those startups were very successful. The last one was Foundry Networks that we sold in December of 2008 for $2.6 billion to Brocade, which was a nice exit. And 2 of those were abject failures. There were big holes in the ground you pour money into and then set the money on fire and watch it burn. But like anything else, if you can bet 500 in the startup business, you're doing pretty darn good. So after the startup world and selling company world the last 4.5, 5 years, I've been a professional angel investor. As Max said, I belong to 3 groups. I'm representing the Band of Angels tonight, which is the oldest angel group in the U.S. I'm also a member of the Caritzo Forum, which is the largest worldwide, and I'm a member of another group called the Angels Forum, which is a group of 28 high net worth people that focus on specific areas like healthcare and medical devices. So I enjoy doing this. This is my full-time job. I spend a lot of time at places like Runway. I spend a lot of time with new entrepreneurs, helping them understand what it takes to be a successful business person and how to be a CEO and leader. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Thanks, Paul. So, a little bit about how the companies got here. We had about 30 companies apply this month, of which we picked 10. You got to see them all. And what's going to happen from here, in a minute, I'm going to announce the 5 top vote getters through the People's Choice, and they will do a 4-minute PowerPoint, followed by 4 minutes of Q&A, 4 minutes of feedback, and then the judges are going to vote on a scale of 1 to 5 of the companies they like best. 1 is low, 5 is high. The other 5 companies are going to come up here, line up here, and they're going to do a 1-minute elevator pitch. So as if they were on an elevator and one of these guys happened to be on it and thought that looked like a startup person, so what do? You have a minute to tell them. Then after that, 1 minute, each of the 5 companies does their 1-minute pitch. What happens is I'll come up here and talk to the judges and say, which of these companies do you want to join the other 5? So you'll get to hear 6 companies do their full pitch, 4 companies do their 1-minute pitch. So in no particular order, but this is the order that you will go in. This is the 5 companies that will be presenting their full pitch. Lola Bees, Answer Book, Slim, Trax, and Rewards. Now, so let's give them a nice hand. That's great. So in this order, I would like to have the CEOs of the other companies come over here, and that's going to be Green Gar, Bin Press,